welcome back to my channel. I'm Alexa and today I want to talk about the Twitter case. A murderer in Japan that now wants to get married. So, I mentioned before that in Japan still exists the capital punishment. And this murderer here was sentenced to death. He's 30 years old and in 2017 he was found guilty of the murder of 9 people, 8 girls and 1 guy. The name Twitter killer was given to him because he was connecting to his victims through Twitter. The victims were girls, except for 1 guy, were girls between 15 and 26 years old. And they were all suicidal. Girls that wanted to end their lives, wanted to commit suicide, that were not happy and suffered from depression. And usually they connected on Twitter, on the social media, talking about how unhappy they were, how they wanted to end their life, but none of them still committed suicide. Takeshi basically connected with those victims because he wanted to help them ending their lives. He usually texted them saying that he can help and that he will also end his lives together with them or immediately after them. This was a more romantic-like perspective, like I will help you and then I will commit suicide as well. But it's an obvious lie because he was still alive. Now, the shocking thing about this is that he will connect with the victims on Twitter and the victims will reach him at his apartment. There, he will kill them and dismember their bodies. This is extremely disgusting and shocking. The reason why he was found guilty is because the brother of one of the victims accessed the sister's account on Twitter and found his messages. So he called the police and the police entered his apartment in Zama in Kanagawa Prefecture. There, the police found heads of the victims in cooling box, arms and bones in toolboxes, and it was shocking. I honestly can't imagine someone doing this to people, young people, 15 years old girls that were depressed and suicidal that needed help. Now, there is a clear difference within wanting to end their lives and saying, I will help you hang or give you some medicine to sleep, and dismembering them in a horrible way. It's shocking. It's horrible. About the boy that was killed, he was actually not a suicidal person. He was trying to find his missing girlfriend and he was killed. So in that case, was just murder. There was no intention of helping or anything. During the trial, the prosecutors sought the death penalty for him. But his lawyers actually wanted to have a lesser charge because this was a case with murder with consent. They claim that these victims were actually giving consent to him for the murder. So they were wanting his help to end their lives. What is shocking is that he actually argued with his lawyers saying, no, you're wrong. I didn't have consent. I killed them. This left all Japan speechless. More than 400 people were assisting to this process, to this trial, and they were speechless. Of course, the judge Naokuni Yano gave him the full responsibility and sentenced him to death, of course. I made previously a video about the capital punishment. Go check it if you want to know more. I think it's really interesting to know. And I said that some fundamental criteria, there are 9 really important criteria to consider, take in consideration when a judge sentenced someone to death. And 3 of that criteria were how many victims were involved. And he killed 9 people. Other 2 really important criteria that are always taken in consideration is the level of remorse of the murderer and also the feelings of the victim's family. In this case, parents of victims were saying that we'll never forget Takeshi for what he have done to their daughters. He didn't even try to hide. He actually argued with the lawyer saying that he didn't even have consent for that. Now, this happened in 2017. His trial was in 2017, and those murders happened between August and October of that same year. In 2020, there was a brief period where he was actually able to receive visits. During that time, he was interviewed many times, and one interview was particularly interesting. Kazuki Mogami is a reporter from Mainichi, the newspaper Mainichi. The result of this interview was shocking because he showed no remorse towards his crime and also no concrete feelings about the sentence or how things are going. He only expressed his will to get married. I will of course put the link in the description down below and check the interview. It's really interesting. First of all, during the interview, he shown no remorse, no regret, no feelings. So this is an obvious case of psychopath. As I mentioned in my previous videos, the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths is that psychopaths have no remorse or empathy towards others or their victims. And in this case, he might be a psychopath. Then he also said that he's well aware that he will be hanged soon. As I said in the death penalty video, the criminals are sentenced to death by hanging, but it's not known when it's gonna happen. So it might be years or months. They will know only that same morning. But still, he wants a wife. The reason why he wants a wife is because he wants someone to understand him. It is not necessarily that he is feeling lonely. The reporter asked him, but he denied feeling lonely. He said that is not the case now, but eventually. It's really interesting because he mentioned that none of his friends or relatives went to visit them. The only visits he received were from journalists. And he also received letters, sometimes from girls, but it was clear to him that those girls were in contact with newspapers and he didn't want to reply them because he knew he eventually will end up on a newspaper, on a report, and that will be embarrassing. But he wants a normal girl. He wants to meet a normal girl. He wants to receive letters from a normal girl and get married. When the reporter asked him why, the reason why is pretty simple. He wants the future wife to go see him even when he will be in the detention house. The Tokyo detention house is that department where the criminals soon to be hanged are moved, are transferred to. The reporter actually told him that in the detention house also families can go find him, but he confirmed once again that no one actually showed up until that time. So the chance for the family to not show up even at that time, it's really high. He said, I want to look for someone who will marry me while I'm in prison. Several people have come in the last 2 years, but nothing has led to marriage. I get these kinds of fan letters sometimes too, but there aren't many women who would become the kind of person to come and see me here. Also, I've read these letters so closely now that I know which ones are sent as part of a plan by the weekly magazines and other places. He admitted that inside those letters there is usually a stamp, so he will reply, but he didn't because he's afraid to be published and that will be embarrassing. The reporter asked him, why do you want to get married while in prison? The reply was pretty pragmatic. I was thinking it would be nice to have someone to support me. she would be able to come see me here and bring me things. So basically, he just wants a normal girl, a wife, to bring him things and visit him and talk with him and support him. And I mean, support what? You're a murderer. You killed girls. If you really want a normal girl to marry, you could have been marrying all those girls, 8 girls. You had the chance to meet someone. You had a normal life. You just decided to be a monster and get advantage of people who are insecure, who are depressed, who are not happy, and kill them. Wanting to die and wanting someone who understands that, and listening someone saying, I can help you, I am here for you, I will die with you, gives that person a certain hope that someone understands them. Going there and trusting someone, as crazy as that might be, it's not the same as, oh, you can kill me. Yeah, dismember my body and kill me. That's horrible to do. Police also suspect him for raping the bodies. It's not clear if he did that, but the victims were 15, 16, 20, 22, 26 years old. It's crazy to take someone's life, and not only take the life of that person, but dismembering the body and keeping them. Not even trying to get rid of them, just keeping. It's crazy. And now this person wants to get married. This case is a huge scandal, threw a huge shade on Japan. And also the judge took in consideration that this case put Japan under a really bad light and was a shocking case for the whole country. Because all this happened through the platform Twitter, the murders also prompted a change by Twitter, which amended its rules to state users should not promote or encourage suicide or self-harm. Jack Dorsey said that he's extremely sad by this case in which an alleged serial killer is said to have lured victims by searching the social network for suicidal thoughts. But he also added that it's not realistic to expect the platform to auto-delete those kinds of suicidal tweets. Because Hiraishi actually found the victims on Twitter and connected with them through Twitter without even knowing them or having ever met them before, this is the reason why this case was named the Twitter Killer. When the police tried to look into his profile, they found words and sentences on his account saying that I really want to help people in pain. Please DM me anytime. After saying how extremely sad for this happening he was, Jack Dorsey also made a statement saying we need to take on a responsibility to make sure our tool is being used in positive and healthy ways, he said. But he added that simply deleting suicidal comments would not prevent people killing themselves and that helping connect the right kinds of people could help. Twitter, as Facebook or other social media, are free to use platforms. Platforms where everyone is free to express their own feelings, personality, and thoughts. You can establish some rules and guidelines, but it's up to that people to have the right connection to maintain a healthy environment. Once you take down a website, someone can create another one. The only thing that they are thinking to do is how to connect people in a positive way. Thank you for watching me today as well. I'm sorry for this dark topic. I think it's really interesting to talk about these things, even if they are dark, even if they are scary, and even if they give us a lot of pain. There were victims involved, and talking about them, it's a way to never forget them. If you want to help this channel, if you like the content, if you want to hear more, just leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching me. See you. Bye.